Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about an experience I had last night. So last night was my birthday. I turned 28 and I invited people to a nightclub. It was actually 100 people through the Facebook invite. That's a weird like round even number. Now we were meeting there at 10 and by about 9:15 the realization set in that nobody was going to go. So everybody had texted me that they couldn't go. Now, to be fair, of the 100 people, there was only about 15 to 20 of them that told me that they could go. So that's what I wanted to talk about in today's video. So I've learned so many great things in therapy, and this has to be the best one yet. So those of you out there who have had this happen to you, you know the feeling. And then those of you out there that maybe haven't had this happen, but you live in constant fear that if you were to plan a party or something like this, that this would happen, you still know the feeling of actually believing, even before you set the date, that this will happen to you. Now, it's in these moments we really have a couple different actions we can take. So one of the options we have is we could be mad at each individual person that texted me to cancel. Now, this might have been the option that I chose before therapy. Now, really, this is out of entitlement, right? This is from the whole saying of my friends should be there because they're my friends, right? And I'll get to the should statements in a minute. Also, another option we have is to not be mad at any individual person, but to be mad at the entire situation as a whole, as it's unfolding in front of you, as people are texting you that they're not going to be able to come. It's you internally saying, well, what's going on? Everybody's canceling. Am I not good enough of a person? So what I do is very interesting. So the first thing I did in that moment last night was I identified the cognitive distortions that were in play. So if you don't know what the cognitive distortions are, I'll put a link to that video that I did in the description below. It was actually made popular by a book called Feeling Good by Dr. David D. Burns. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. If you don't want to read it, just check out my video just to see a quick recap of the 10 cognitive distortions. So once I identified it, it was things like overgeneralization, right? Understanding that just because this happened to me and everyone canceled, I kind of take that as this will always happen, which means what's the point in actually planning another party because it's going to happen to me again, right? I think that's a very popular one. Another one is the fortune teller's error. So in that one, it's where as people are texting me, right, you assume that everyone will eventually text you to cancel, right? It's where that like fear and that panic sets in that, oh my gosh, it's starting, everyone's texting me to cancel, right? And then in that moment, it's the ability to realize that that's what's going on and to say, okay, well, that person canceled, but I'm hopeful that everyone else will still show until they actually text me and tell me that they are canceling. So emotional reasoning was a big one too. So in emotional reasoning, it's where you take your feelings as truth. So I feel bad, therefore I am bad, right? Now there's a huge difference between I'm sad because everybody did not show up to my birthday party and I am sad as a person. There's a huge difference. And then obviously the should statements, right? I should stop planning parties. This way I don't get hurt. So this kind of stuff doesn't happen to me again, right? That's a very popular one for anyone who's experienced anything kind of negative in their lives. And then lastly really is the personalization one. So that's one where you actually feel like people are canceling and not showing up because it's your fault. Like you did something wrong, which makes you feel probably the worst of any of the cognitive distortions. So the reason why I started it with that is because for me at least, because I knew which cognitive distortion was going on at each point in the night, I was able to then say, okay, I know what's going on and I know how to attack it because I've already obviously worked on it in therapy. So at that point, once I knew what was going on, it was a little easier because I knew for each individual one, there was a different way to attack it to start feeling better. So for the overgeneralization, I understood that just because everyone's canceling tonight doesn't mean that the next time I plan a party that most people won't actually show up. And then with the fortune teller's error, again, as people were texting me, I quickly got out of the mindset that everyone was going to text me to cancel, and I was hopeful that the rest of the people that had not texted me were going to show up. And I waited until they had texted me until I knew a definite answer. Whereas a lot of times people will already get that fear of, oh dang, this is going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And then they kind of ruin the night themselves before it even gets started. With emotional reasoning as well, same thing. I understood that I was feeling not great, obviously, in that moment, but that's not who I am as a person, right? I'm allowed to have feelings, right? And you are allowed to feel sad sometimes, but again, that's not who you are as a person, so you don't feel too bad, you just feel bad for the situation. Should statements, again, kind of the same as kind of overgeneralization in this particular case, where it's, I'm not going to stop myself from planning other parties and stuff like that, because again, I don't know how those are going to turn out. And then with personalization, right, again, a very big one, because I didn't feel like everyone canceled because of me and I did something wrong, I was able to really calmly assess the situation and just kind of move forward with what was going on. Now, for me, right, the overall theme for myself is I understand that my friends love and care about me, right? But in that moment, I have the ability through a lot of work and therapy to understand that even in selfish moments like my birthday, to think and care about others, right? And the reasons that people gave me for not being able to show up are completely valid reasons. And for me to get mad at that, whereas I have been in those situations before too, where I felt sick or I had unexpected things come up and I couldn't make a friend's party, why should I be mad at them for that happening when that's happened to me as well? You know, and I think that that's something that's very difficult to do, right? When you're in that situation, it's very tough to think about other people, you know, when you're going through something like that, right? And the ability to not be selfish again and to understand it from their perspective too. So again, I understand that everyone has their own lives. You know, as they texted me, I was actually saying, you know, actually I didn't go at all because everyone kind of just canceled. Now this was big too, because again, I didn't take personalization, right? I didn't feel like I was the reason why everyone was canceling. I was able to talk to my friends about the event and how it was going, you know, because again, the old me would have thought that I was the reason why everyone was canceling. So I would have felt so bad that I wouldn't have texted people because I wouldn't have wanted them to know what happened, because I would have felt like they would have made fun of me for it, or they would have felt sorry for me or something like that, you know? So some of the responses I got back were some people were like, oh, you're so nice. I would have flipped out. Other people just said, hey, I'm really sorry. You know, let's plan something else a different day and I'll make sure I make it next time. So if you're watching this video and you're my friends and family, again, I love you all. I know you didn't cancel because you didn't want to see me. We're all busy. We all have lives. Like, I understand. I'm definitely not mad at any of you guys at all. But if you are watching this video and maybe you just had this happen to you, right? Maybe you're watching in the future, right? I just want to let you guys know out there that you can get through it as I did as well, right? It's not easy sometimes, but you know, the more practice you have in those situations, the better you'll get at it. And I just want you to understand this, you know, we can't change negative experiences and events from happening to us. All we can change is our reaction to those negative events. And I just think that that's so powerful because it's so true, right? Everybody is going to have difficult things pop up in their lives. So it's not a matter of avoiding the negatives. It's a matter of understanding how to effectively deal with it when it comes. This way you can limit the time you spend dwelling on the negative and you can quickly move forward to the positives. And again, for my friends that are watching, I know they're probably going to feel the need to text me and tell me they're sorry. Again, I don't need you to. I understand. You're busy, right? I'm not perfect either. I've definitely had times where I've been caught up in my own stuff and I haven't really paid attention to my friends. So again, I'm not perfect, nor do I expect you guys to be as well. So a little bit of a longer video. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Again, just trying to help people that struggle with depression and anxiety. I hope this video really helped you. Obviously, I felt like this was something I wanted to do right away because like the emotion and stuff is still fresh. I just experienced it last night. So I was able to more clearly articulate what the feelings are going on, as it's happening. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a good one, everybody.